Hey guys, so I'm out here in their main run, and last night there was a hailstorm. So I was at the horse barn with my horse Bridget. I got stuck there because a storm came through. Couldn't come back until the storm passed. I came back, checked on the chickens, and I was like, what is that? Hundreds of holes in their roofing. This is just one of them. So not only is their run no longer secure because some of these holes are definitely big enough where a raccoon could work its way in and easily start kind of breaking and chipping away and stuff because the hole is already started. And there's also like hundreds of pieces of plastic sitting around. Here's a smaller one. Hundreds. So it's not safe for the chickens to be out here until I pick up all the plastic. And then I don't think I can leave them here when I'm gone. I'm so bummed out and stressed. And I don't know if I should keep the chickens in the coop. Their door's about to open. I actually need to close it off because it's not safe until I pick up this plastic. Okay, let me figure out what to do.
Another day, another chicken thing. Chicken Mom vlog. Back.
A hailstorm ruining my roof and a heartbreaking experience that gave me a deeper connection to my animals.
Come on out, my little honeys. Come on out. Come on out. Come on out, my little honeys. Come on out, my little honeys. Good morning, handsome. Come on out. Come on out. Come all the way out. Good job. Good morning, Sasha. Would you like some assistance? Good girl. Okay, give her some space, please. All right, let me go get food for you guys.
Once the chickies were out of the coop, it gave me a little bit of time, about an hour before I had to head out to my horse Bridget to make a plan of where I was going to put them when I was gone. My horse Bridget had a vet appointment, so I absolutely had to head out soon. Luckily, my mini run did not have hail damage, so thank goodness I built it a couple episodes ago. So I decided that the best thing to do would be to keep them in the coop, but also give them access to the mini run. That would give them a little bit of outside space. I know it's not ideal, but I just needed to do something, and I knew that they would be happier with having at least the mini run versus just being stuck in the coop. So I had to still do a few things and finish it up. I don't know if y'all remember, I didn't actually totally finish the mini run. I had a few finishing touches. So it started with making this little door. Don't judge it. I know it's wonky looking. I'm going to go back and sort of fix it and make it better eventually, but it gets the job done. And the mini run is totally predator proof. So I didn't have to worry about a predator getting through that door. I only had to make sure everything was secure in the run itself. I still had to build a gate, which if you know me, you know I'm notoriously terrible at making gates fit. So it took a couple attempts and the clock was ticking, but I managed to finally finish it and get that on there. I also had to secure some more hardware cloth just in a few spaces where there were some cracks. I more or less got it done, but I was nervous about putting my chickens in it when I was sort of in a hurry to rush out without really monitoring them. So praise be when my mom said that she was coming over to help out. So even though I got the mini run more or less secure, I didn't have to rush it and I could head out to my horse Bridget while my mom was there. She was on plastic picking up duty, which was so helpful. She picked up hundreds of little pieces of plastic and she said she bonked her head a few times on all of the obstacles that I had in the run. Once I was back from the vet, I decided to try to see how I was going to get these roofing nails out because they are so hard to get out, like ridiculous. The nail just like folds in on itself And I was going to see if I maybe had a tool or if I needed to get a tool when I went to the hardware store to get the roofing. This is the nail that I was trying to get out. It takes so long. I mean, I've tried multiple things. My brother was able to get them out when we moved, but it was tough. These are all the holes from the top view. As you can see, it's pretty gnarly and definitely needed to be replaced rather than repaired. Since my mom was going to come with me to assist in getting the new roofing, I did actually have to put all the chickens in the mini run this time, which I felt bad about because they were so crammed, but I had a little more time to monitor them and make sure everything was going to be okay for the hour or two that we were gone. And I decided that adding a little roost bar would help offer them some extra space where they could sort of get away from each other, because I really didn't want them picking on each other or getting stressed, because it was also a rather hot day as well. Taking the time to get that roost bar up definitely gave me more peace of mind, and they were clearly very happy and receptive to have that roost bar, and it really opened up the space in there, even though it's way too small for 12 chickens, but this was just a temporary thing.
I locked myself in. You just have to come in through the turnout and open the door, but Ari's in here, so don't worry.
How do I get to you? Because you locked me out from getting in there.
Maybe you can open it, kind of like stick your fingers through.
What?
Are you climbing over?
That is the only way I think I can get to you.
Oh my gosh, how are you going to get on the other side? Wait, I think you could stick a really long piece of something through here and reach this latch from the outside of the turnout where you are. If you got like a really long, like a broom, or see, this just has to lift. Thanks, Mother.
My mom saved the day in more than one way that day. She realized that we did not have to maintain the integrity of these roofing panels anymore, therefore we could just totally damage them while getting them off. So popping the plastic out from underneath and then just nailing the nail back into the wood is what we decided to do. It worked even though it created a hole, but it didn't matter because there were already a bunch of holes, which was going to turn what could have been a multi-day task into just a few solid hours of work. So it was a game changer, lifesaver. Once we figured that out, we were off to Lowe's to pick up the new paneling. I obviously didn't want to do plastic again since I guess hail is a thing where I live now, and I decided to go with metal. We should have been wearing gloves. Always wear gloves when handling this stuff. It sliced me once and it happened so fast. We were very careful, but always wear gloves. Back to the chickie babies, who were very excited to be let out, but seemed like they did okay while in the mini run for a short period of time. It was extremely hot that day, so within just a matter of probably 30 minutes, we were soaked with sweat. My mom was on removal duty and I was on putting on the new roof duty. It was a good system and it really felt like we were starting to make progress and there was light at the end of the tunnel. This is where we got within a few hours of work. At this point, we took a little break to cool off, and then I came back out to do a little bit of caulking to sort of hopefully help with these leaks that I've been fighting against, because rain was coming in within the next few days and I was tired of having wet nest boxes, which is not healthy for the chickens at all. Water was also getting in to their food area, which is because there's a big opening above the food. So I added this little porch thing that would serve as a cover, and the chickens clearly loved it too, which is what I imagined. It provides like a little lookout point for them, which is cute. Back to Lowe's the next day to pick up a few extra things and to get back to the chicken babies to let them out while we hopefully finished the roof this day, because rain was expected to come in starting in the evening for a few days, and I really didn't want them literally cooped up in that time when we couldn't finish the roofing because it was raining. So we wanted to get to work, and the goal was to finish the roofing that day. My mom came over and went right back to a removal duty while I started in on adding the new panels. We already had all the supplies, which saved us a lot of time in the second day, and it was a lot less hot, which made a huge difference with how long we were able to work and push through to get it done. I took a minute to add some new latches to these doors that I felt like previously were not secure enough to keep the doors really tight, and that was really important for security. I finally figured it out, and I also did replace that latch that locked me in the mini run with something that wasn't going to automatically close. I added a little bit more caulking in preparation for the rain that was coming in soon as well. Time was flying by so fast. I thought it was noon, and it was actually like 3:30 p.m. We doubled down to finish off this roofing and work together to make sure everything got done, and we were zeroing in on aiming to get it done by the end of the day today. I had these fans running to dry the caulking and also some of the water that had gotten in from the previous rain so that I could add their new nest pads and things back in. The rain started coming in right around 6 p.m. when I still just had a few panels to add. I decided to put some on top of the coop to protect the wood because I didn't feel like I wanted to shingle this quite yet, so we're just sticking with corrugated roofing. It literally started sprinkling on me when I was up here finishing this off, so we completed the corrugated roofing in the nick of time. The chicken babies were safe from weather, predators, and tiny pieces of plastic that they could ingest in their cozy new run, and my mom and I were tired, but we were very proud of ourselves that we pulled this together and got it done. It was a whirlwind of a couple days, but I was excited to sit down with them and enjoy what we did, except for I did notice that leaks were still coming in where the food was and also where the nest boxes are, like really bad. Lots of leaks, lots of water. This is not good for their health and for the health of the wood and the coop. This is below their nest boxes. This is actually in the nest box. What a disaster. It's because of design flaws that are totally on me that I'll get into soon, but you know what? Enough for 1 or 2 days. I decided just to set that aside momentarily and still enjoy the chickens because I was tapped out with doing things and fixing things, and I figured I would get to it tomorrow when the rain was gone, but for now it was cuddle time, and sweet Coda provided. The next morning, I got to work as soon as I could. I decided that since I caulked pretty much everything I possibly could, like I used what should be an illegal amount of caulking in that area, that building a foyer was going to be the next course of action for this area. I used this recycled corrugated roofing that didn't get damaged. It seems like this type of plastic is stronger than the other kind, but if I have to replace it, it's no big deal. I'll just take it off because I actually used the screws. It's going to be a lot easier, and replace it with metal as well. But for now, this is what I had, so I figured I would go ahead and try to utilize it. Really, what could have prevented all of this is if I had designed the coop to be maybe about 11 feet wide instead of 12 feet wide, because then the 12-foot corrugated roofing would hang over or just make an overhang in the back of the coop, so the water would drip off the back of the coop because there is a slant and not go directly into all the cracks of the nest box and food area, which is what happens. It would overhang off. So now I'm essentially sort of doing that. I'm making it so it drops down but then goes farther out and drops down again. That's essentially what the foyer will do. But if I were to go all the way back before I started building this, I would have thought that through, but you live and you learn and you adjust as you go. I decided that if I couldn't actually fix the leaks, I was just going to take the door feature off altogether because I can't have this amount of water coming into the coop. Once I finished the foyer, I sprinkled some Revitalize from Eaton Pet and Pasture, as well as some nesting herbs from them and some hemp bedding nest pads, and I also cleaned things out and just replenished things so it felt nice and fresh again, and I think the girls were really happy about it. I went ahead and checked off a task that I had been sitting on for quite a while. I had this extra organic non-dyed mulch and topsoil to add to their run just to freshen it up and to give them a little bit more substrate to scratch around in and to take dust baths in. The chickens were telling me it was time to sit down and just enjoy some cuddles, so that I did. That's what I love so much about having cuddly chickens. No matter how much you give them, how much space, how much enrichment, all these things that make a chicken happy, they still want you to sit down and cuddle them, which means that they love you just as much as all the stuff that makes a chicken happy without you, which feels really special. It did actually rain a bit that day, and look at how dry everything was still remaining in comparison to how it was. So I'm feeling hopeful that I fixed this leaking problem once and for all, but I'll keep monitoring it through heavier rains. I was also really loving having this cozy little foyer for myself to sit under with my dog and my cat. So ultimately, I'm really glad that I ended up having to take the time to build it, because now I have this additional little spot in the yard. Throughout all of this, I had been helping one of my 3 horses, Bridget, through a serious health issue. The vet had come out to see her multiple times, and she started getting better, but then she took a turn for the worse again. Through an ultrasound and another rectal exam, he determined that what he thought she was going through was going to require a very serious surgery in order for her to get better, but he recommended taking her to a specialist to get a second opinion. This was incredibly hard and scary news to hear. I had lost 2 of my horses last year previously to serious health issues and age-related conditions, and the thought of losing Bridget was absolutely breaking my heart. I stayed with her as much as I possibly could to make sure she knew I was there for her. We waited for the hauler to come pick her up, and that in and of itself is really tough to see, because getting them hauled anywhere is stressful for them, and being hospitalized and examined in a new environment definitely isn't an experience that I love watching them go through, but it was absolutely necessary at this point. She was on some pretty good pain meds here, so she's a little more perked up. I didn't know if she was going to be returning. The health issue that she was potentially diagnosed with is really serious, so I took this morning to just be with her and brush her and keep her happy and calm and enjoy this time with her at the barn with her 2 sisters. Once we got to the vet, the diagnosis was the same. We were able to get a second opinion and more in-depth imagery, but ultimately they told me it would come down to a surgery, but it's not quite as simple as that, because she's almost a 30-year-old horse with some pre-existing conditions, and the surgery is very high risk, and it's more or less an explorative surgery that isn't even guaranteed to help her, and it could potentially be a really tough road ahead if she does go through with it. We're talking like 3 to 6 months of recovery and never being the same, and possibly going through some really hard, life-threatening things because of that and what it would put her through. So ultimately I decided that if it does come down to the surgery, I wasn't going to put her through that, and that she had been through enough in her life with humans poking her and prodding her, and that it would be her time to be let go peacefully. That was obviously really, really tough to sit with. I turned to Coda in this moment to help ground me and give me some light and sunshine between my visits to Bridget, who I decided to hospitalize for a few days to see if what was going on could potentially be resolved through fluids and a few other things that they were doing to treat her, but they said it was every day that it wasn't resolving. It was becoming less and less likely that it was non-surgical, and they pretty much deemed it like less than 5% of a chance that she was going to get better without surgery. But every day she was there, she was getting weaker and her spirits were dwindling. So after a few days of really making sure I gave her the best shot that I could, and I also spent as much time with her in that time as I could, I decided that it would be time to bring her home soon and schedule the vet to come help let her go peacefully. All of the horses that I've rescued in the last few years, the 5 that I rescued, have been significant to me beyond words, but Bridget is my soul horse. She is the core of the group. She is the one that has come to me in dreams, that has given me so much guidance and healing along the way, and she's the one who I've come the farthest with as far as training goes. She was totally feral when I met her. She didn't even let me touch her for 2 months. I couldn't put a halter on her. I don't ride any of my horses, but where we are at this point, we have this connection where I can tell that she feels totally loved and safe. We can communicate to each other basically telepathically at this point. So the thought of losing her was beyond difficult. She's always loved every animal, but specifically my old dog Viver. So I had Bridget brought home when the hospitalization wasn't working. I wanted her to be home in her space, to see her sisters, to have one more day in her pasture, to feel safe again. And I wanted her to see Viver one more time. That was really sweet to see, and I could tell that both of them were really happy to be around each other. Viver was definitely happy to be around the horses and to be able to eat horse poop, which, yes, she does eat horse poop. I really didn't know how Bridget was going to be when I got her home, because the night prior to that at the vet, she looked so bad that I was even questioning if it was ethical to keep her around through the morning to get her home. But once we got her home, she totally surprised me. She started eating grass, which she hadn't done for almost 2 weeks at this point. She started walking around. She was drinking water, which she hadn't done. And I decided that this was just too big of a turn for me to feel comfortable letting her go the next day. So I canceled the vet appointment, or postponed it, and we're still in touch, and just decided to monitor her as much as possible to see where her health is at, because I don't want to make her suffer and make her stick around if she is in a lot of pain and not happy and her quality of life is terrible. But she looked happy and she was eating and not showing any signs of pain. And this was the next day, and it's been a week since she got brought home. Me sitting here recording this voiceover right now, and you guys, she just continued to get better and better and better. She started pooping normally. We're not giving her hay. She is on a very specialized limited diet of mostly grass, but her appetite has been non-stop since she got back. She's been drinking water every day. She's showing no signs of pain, and as long as she is checking off those boxes, I'm going to keep her around as long as I possibly can. And she really is a walking miracle. The fact that I am still able to go see her and to be around her has really made me not take any hour or any moment for granted with her. I know that her condition is still there and it didn't necessarily resolve itself per se, but that 5% chance that the vets gave her, that something kind of shifted in her and she could temporarily have a prolonged amount of time to enjoy her life. I think that happened, and I'm just like, I'm beside myself. I'm so grateful. I cannot believe it. I was fully prepared to lose her, and it still could be any day, but I feel like I'm changed, like on a cellular level, with how I see her and how I see all of my animals. Each one is so special and unique, and you really have no idea how long you have with any of them. Losing any animal is always incredibly difficult, and whenever I do lose one, it always puts it into perspective for me, and I enter into an even deeper level of love and connection with the animals that I still do have. But having thought I was going to lose Bridget fully and then not losing her yet, I mean, even if I just have had this extra week still, there's something that has been really powerful about that, being pushed to all those extremes emotionally, but then still getting to look at her and to see her in the flesh has really been an unexplainable experience. Obviously, my attention in that time had to shift away from the chickens a bit while she was in the thick of her hospitalization. I'm still spending hours and hours a day with Bridget to monitor her and to make sure she gets that extra level of care. But now that she's back home, I was able to get some chicken cuddles in and just enjoy them because I really missed them. I hate being away from them, and they're just always there and ready to just pour love into me and totally cover me in cuddles. And even if things are really tender and emotional and a little bit heavy and tough to navigate, they always just bring me this sense of peace and love and joy when I do sit down and take the time to allow them to give me all this love, because it really is a reflection of what I have poured into them. And we just have this relationship and this connection where we're circulating all this love at this point, me and all my animals, not just with my chickens, but I feel like they really do love me, and they love spending time with me just as much as I love spending time with them. And that's how it is for my horses, all my animals, that I really feel like they love me too, which is a really special feeling. If you've experienced it before, it's quite amazing. Having animals can be really difficult. As you saw in this episode, there were quite a few challenging things that happened. The hailstorm ruining the roof, which actually turned out to give me a roof that's going to keep them a lot safer in the Texas heat that I didn't know when I was going to get around to, and going through the health scare with Bridget. But now it's given me a new lens and deeper perspective, a deeper connection with my animals. And there are times when keeping animals is so hard that it makes me question it, because it is tough sometimes, emotionally, physically, mentally, financially, all of that. But then there are moments like this, and there are moments like what I've experienced with Bridget and all of my animals, and my life only exists how it does because of them. You can't actually separate me from animals, and I know people on here feel that way too, that even though it's tough, there really isn't a life without them, because you are them at this point. So, as difficult as it is, it grows you into the person that you are, and that's a beautiful thing. And I'm so grateful for that journey and for every animal that I get to experience along the way, and who I get to exchange this beautiful love with. That was quite an episode. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate everybody who showed their support on the post as well about Bridget. Make sure to like, subscribe, drop a comment, say hi, and share it with a friend, maybe. And I'll see you guys around. I'm Madeline. This is Earthlings Uncaged, and I am passionate about keeping animals safe and happy.